Hi everybody, I'm Bill Sanders and this is Watch Art Sci, the art and science of watch collection. Today what I want to talk about is a company that it's very complex, I'll put it that way. And this is IWC, the International Watch Company. It was founded, I think, in 1888 by an American. And they have 7 different categories of watches or models. They have the pilots, the Portuguese are the Portofino, the DaVinci, the Engineer, the Aquatimer, and then they have something that they call the Jubilee Collection, which is sort of different versions of what they have, some plus some special watches. Got a lot to cover, so I'm not going to do anything but get going. Okay, first of all, I want to talk about the movements because it's complicated, all right? You have IWC movements that are in-house IWC. You also have sort of a funny kind of movement that is, they're made by IWC. IWC manufacturer, but they had started with an ETA at one time and then used that as a base, but then did enough things to make them their own. So that's another category. Then they have ones that are straight up ETAs. They have other ones that are Solitas. And then they have some other ones that are they're like one is a Piaget and another is a Jaeger-LeCoultre. The Piaget, I couldn't find a Piaget one. I looked on places like Chrono 24 and I couldn't find one there, but I did find one for Jaeger-LeCoultre. Now, one of the things about IWC, they don't use exhibition windows in the back too much. Most of theirs are solid, so to me, I like to see what's going on. I like to see a good movement. Now they do have a number of them with movements that you can see, but for the most part, they're solid. All right, now in order to sort of categorize things, this was the ones in green are IWC, the red is ETA, the purple is Solita, and then sort of this bluish, dark blue is blue-gray. I don't know what it is. It's a blue. These are other ones, and I put them in groups, like from 30110 to 32110. Those are all ETA. From 35100 to 35111, those are Solita SW300-1. And then in the green, those are IWC ones. And they're in groups and they're by themselves. And so I simply went through all of them, and there are just tons of them. If you'd like to see where I got my information, I got it from watchbase.com. And if you go and take a look at the various IWC, you'll see that there are a whole lot of them. So I tried to consolidate them the best I could, and this is what I came up with. So anyway, take a look at those, and this will give you an idea. All right, so let's get started. The first group of watches the first models I want to talk about are the pilot watches, and their latest one is a group called the Spitfire models, and they have all different kinds. Now, the 3 that I have here, the first one, the annual calendar Spitfire, has an IWC movement in it, and it's $19,000. The Mark, let's see, that would be the Mark 18 XVII, has a caliber 35-111 that we'll see a good deal of it. It has a Solita in it, and it's 4150. The caliber 32-1110 is an ETA base, and it's an automatic movement. Okay, and 4350. Now, one of the things you'll see if you go to the IWC site, they have ones that they will say they're IWC manufactured, which means they're in-house. If it doesn't say that, even though there's nothing that indicates what it is in the name of the movement. Like the caliber 35-111 doesn't say anything about being a Salida, but that's what it is. There's another one that I'll see if we can talk about it in a bit. Okay, a couple more pilot watches just to give you the range of it. Here's one, the big pilot Spitfire in 18 karat gold, caliber 5111. It's an IWC. It's 3 hertz, which is, that's what I like. It's $26,900. Now that's not unusual for a watch of that, everything about it, in-house movement, gold, and so forth. The 3 hertz movement to me is simply adds a little to it, as far as I'm concerned. Now, on the other hand, you have this caliber 69-380. It's IWC base for the 69-380, but that's based on an ETA. Now, but it's an IWC manufacturer. Now, IWC started with an ETA for this particular caliber and added a great deal to it for its own type of watch that it has. So this is where things get a little complicated. And if you're thinking of buying an IWC, what I would do is spend some time finding out the caliber and finding out, going over to watchbase.com and taking a look at it. Now, as a general rule, the in-house costs more than the ones basically off the shelf or slightly modified ETA or Salida movements. Right? That's true with just about every watch company. Okay, the next one is the Portuguese. This is one that I sort of identified it with a chronometer, and I'm not sure what it is. It does everything, and it has a wide range. It's sort of a starting range. This one has the caliber 79-359 is an ETA movement base to it, and it's $7,600. It's a chronograph. Now, on the other hand, the IWC one, the caliber 83-961, is 12,100. It's called the Chronograph Yacht Club, and it's something that you could probably take out in a yacht race and get wet and have a good time with. It's got a rubber band too on it. Okay, now the minute repeater. Now this is into some serious horology you got here, and this one runs at 2.5 hertz, which of course I just think is great. Caliber 98-950. It's $86,000, 500, which isn't unusual for a minute repeater. Finally, over here is a grand complication. Now this one just blew my mind in 5 ways from Sunday. It's a platinum watch. The caliber 79091 has an ETA base to it, all right? And it's almost $250,000. It's $235,000. Now, the complications are all IWC, and I think the movement is a 4 hertz movement. So anyway, that to me is sort of a conversation piece. It's a very expensive one. All right. Now the next group is called the Portofino. Here again, you have on the low end, you have the caliber 35-111. That's in an automatic watch, which is the Salida movement at $5,700 with a metal band to it. Now, they also have a tourbillon in a Portofino, and it's got a caliber 59900, which is in-house. And another one they have is a caliber 59-210. I'm talking about movements. It's a hand-wound 8-day IWC. Let me just point out that IWC can make these incredible movements, but so many of their watches on the lower end are by somebody else. Now, this next group is the DaVinci, and it's got a lot of these are 36 millimeters for people with smaller wrists. Also, they have for women watches. They also show, too, a lot of women wearing 40 millimeters, sort of the larger size ones. So they're sort of marketing, I think, to a more, quote, not more business women for some of the larger sizes. Caliber 35-111 is a Solita. In fact, all of these are some version of a Solita. And their prices are not really low. I mean, $5,400 is their bottom one for the automatic 40 on it. And it's their moon phase is $8,500. And then the one with diamonds around it is $10,000. So it's one of their categories if you're interested in some of the smaller ones, some of the 36 millimeter ones. Now the engineer is one that is, I'm not sure, one of the things I'm not sure about the themes of these different watches that they have. Pilot watches, I am, but some of these other ones, they're sort of there. They have but I'm not sure what sort of is their story, their theme. Okay, well, these three, you have two of them are chronographs. One's a regular chronograph with one of those, what I call IWC ETA. This is in-house built with a ETA base, but the IWC added to it. Okay. Now the caliber 89-361 is all IWC. That's $11,000 on that one. And finally, the caliber 35-111 is that Solita again. You keep seeing that, and this is 4590. Now again, you keep seeing the less. They're not cheap by any stretch of the imagination, but they're a better price, or a lower price anyway. So they have this is why it's difficult to characterize IWC watches. I mean, in terms of tiers, they seem to hit all of them at different times. Okay, the Aquatimer. Now this one is their diver model. And the automatic caliber 3120 is ETA based. I don't know why, but I just really like that one. It's one of my favorite watches in their whole collection. I know it's an ETA base, but I still like it. Now they have these expedition watches by famous people, Jacques Cousteau and Charles Darwin. On that, and one is ETA base, the 79-320, the Jacques Cousteau, and Charles Darwin in a bronze case is the 89-365. Both of them are chronometers. All right, I mean chronographs, not chronometers. Probably they don't say anything about being chronometers, but they are chronographs. Now, the final group they have is called the Jubilee, and the Jubilee is, I think it's 75. Let's see, 1888 would be, I don't know what, 125 years. I'm not sure what it was for, but they call them the Jubilee. They have this one called the Paul Weber, and I really like it. They have an exhibition window on that. Now, this reminds me a lot of my Beauvais, where you have it totally fills up the case, and you can see the movement. These really finely done plates and bridges on it. Beautiful watch. I love that watch. 23,100, and you have, it looks like it's jumping minutes and jumping hours, and then at the small seconds at 6 o'clock on that. The other two, the pilot chronograph, I think these are older styles that they have, and quite frankly, I like them. I like the looks of both of those. One is a Portugueser, and the other one is a pilot chronograph. They're both chronographs. The Portugueser has an IWC movement, and the pilot has an ETA movement. All right. Now, IWC, I haven't been too friendly to IWC, mainly because you never know what you're going to get in a movement unless you go through all of this rigmarole to find out what's there. Let me give you a shortcut, okay? The shortest shortcut, if you go to the IWC site and you look at a particular watch, if it doesn't say IWC manufacturer, chances are it's an ETA or Solita. That's the sort of the bottom line. And then you have where things get complicated, or when you have a base, an ETA base, but then it's been developed by IWC. Now, some of this, though, is not necessarily a bad thing. A lot of times an ETA base will be used because of the size. I mean, you have to have their dials have certain feet that go certain places. And so you want to be sure that it fits everything that is on an ETA movement, a popular ETA movement, so you can get the dial on, it fits the case, and so forth. So this is another reason that you have something that looks a lot, well, someone says, wow, well, has an ETA base. That doesn't necessarily mean they copied or a clone of ETA. Sort of like the Soprod A10 is based on a Seiko, but it was the Seiko wanted to be sure that it would fit in all of the ETA models of a similar size. Okay, well, I forgot to have what is my wristwatch on. It's a Parmigiani Fourier Culpa Grande XL, or XL Grande, one of the two. What I'd really like to hear your thoughts on this. Somebody got really mad at me because I wasn't as enthusiastic about IWC as I should have been, but the reason I wasn't is that they don't make it as easy as they could to sort of let you know what's inside their watch. Most of them are 4 hertz, even the ones that they manufacture, which doesn't do much for me, but boy, they have some 2.5 hertz, and they got some other ones in there that are really higher level watches, and this is why it's such a difficult brand to really analyze. But they have a lot, and they're very interesting. And I would really very much like to hear your opinion on these. And of course, this is an invitation to subscribe if you'd like. And until Sunday, when we have our collection review, this is Bill Sanders for Watch Art Side, the art and science of watch collection.